Comedian and podcaster Marc Maron is as busy as ever, and his new comedy special may be his best work yet. In it, he shares some thoughts about the meaning of life. Watch.
I got a few good errands a day. I'm pretty good with the purpose and meaning. Some people are boycotting Target, they're boycotting Tesla, they're boycotting Amazon. Yeah, good luck with that one. Try to run an errand if you're boycotting Amazon. Out there in the brick and mortar world, that could take weeks. You might have to go all the way to China for your air fryer.
The special is called Marc Maron Panic. It's out on HBO this Friday, and it is getting released after Maron recently announced the end of his podcast of 16 years, WTF with Marc Maron. Yeah, WTF indeed. His guests range from President Barack Obama to Robin Williams and Ariana Grande. Maron also has a new comedy series. It's called Stick, where he stars alongside Owen Wilson. And Marc Maron is here in studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
So listen, let's start with your special. You call it your best work that you've ever done, and you've done some incredible things in your career. What is it about this special that has allowed you to say that you've done your best? What is it about this special that allowed you to do your best work?
Well, I think over the time, like I'm always a comic. That's what I started out doing. It's really my love and my passion, and I work hard. And as time goes on, I never really. I try to do a new hour. This is every year and a half or so. And I just think as I get older and as my craft gets a little better, that I'm able to explore more things, take more chances, and be more comfortable with the comedy I'm doing. You know, I kind of push the edge a little bit, and I try to mix it up. There's a lot in that special, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an hour and 10 minutes. It's old school. A lot of guys are doing specials that are like 34 minutes long.
Right.
But when I'm coming up, I'm like, we do an hour.
No doubt.
And they let me do an hour. They let me do an hour and 10. And I think there's definitely a section in it for everybody.
Well, I love the worry folder.
Yes.
Because you're mining the things that are your worries, the things that you stress about, but you turn it into comedic gold.
Well, that's because that's the way my brain works. Is I don't have an ability to rest my mind. So the idea is that some part of my brain, if I'm ever comfortable, is like, you want me to open the worry folder? There's a lot in here. A lot of it's not going to happen. But why let that stop you? We can have a whole day with these.
Yeah.
And if you really think about when you have that kind of brain, it's unnecessary because it's not real. Your brain's just generating stuff to worry about. Like there's not enough to worry about. But I think somehow, for some people, it's comforting to keep it small.
It's also comforting to know that other people have that worry folder.
Yeah.
You're talking about things that you do when you get on a plane or whatever. You're thinking of the worst case scenario, and then we all kind of do that. And it's nice to know that we're not alone up here.
Yeah, I know. It's. I think it helps people when you share it. But the people that don't have it are like, wow, this guy's in trouble.
He's losing his mind over there.
Exactly.
You talked about getting older and getting better and taking more risks and being comfortable.
Yeah.
I want to commend you on how you unveil yourself on stage. Being funny can come in different forms. You can write a joke, make people laugh.
Right.
Or you can talk to their soul and make them think, and you do that.
Thanks.
You're very raw, very honest. You talk about the fragility of life, and you also show your fragility, which isn't easy to do. I know it is intentional, but why, though? Because I feel like it might be easier to do a knock-knock joke and make people giggle.
Believe me, I think about that my whole career.
Yeah.
It's like, look at these guys, they just do a character, and they can do the job. I think, for me, comedy was something deeper than the job of entertainment. I always saw the people that I looked up to. It's a mixture of like the old-timey guys.
Like who?
Well, when I was a kid, Buddy Hackett, Don Rickles, there was a bunch of people that like my grandma liked that I thought were hilarious. And then when I got, wiser and older, Pryor's first special, kind of changed the whole format in my head, that there was a possibility to expose that vulnerability, to take those risks. And there's a price to it.
There's a price.
You are putting yourself out there, and you don't know, whether or not people are going to be uncomfortable or how that's going to go. But that's worth it.
Yeah.
And to speak to getting older, my last special was a lot about grief.
Yep.
And about losing my partner during COVID, and the ability, the challenge of making that funny. And there's nothing more common than grief, nothing more common than loss.
Yeah.
But people are like,
talk about taking a
about
risk.
it, right? So you go into it, and I think because of that, it opened up another possible world for me to take risks with that vulnerability. And I think in the last 2 bits, like the third act almost of this special, I mean, it's pretty intense. But the challenge is how do you take this fundamental reality that everyone deals with but can't express and elevate it to something funny?
Right.
So, Mark,
that's the challenge, right?
Yeah, that's
and it's
the
worth
challenge.
it, right?
It's worth it. It is.
one of the things that we just mentioned is that you're ending WTF.
Yeah.
Which is, all good things must come to an end. But so much of that podcast was groundbreaking, including that interview that you did with President Barack Obama, which was hailed as like something like one of a kind. It's probably common now for presidential candidates to go on podcasts.
Wasn't a candidate.
He wasn't a candidate. He was already the president.
We wouldn't
of
have
the
had a
United States.
candidate on.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have done that.
Right.
You know, because I did political talk radio in 2004. You know, I was on Air America, kind of the lefty reaction to right-wing radio. And we decided at the beginning of WTF, it's not a political show. It's a show about people. And it's about, what the people, how they get through their lives, who they are.
Right.
So that was the plan with Barack Obama, with President Obama. He was a sitting president. And that was the last term. And the fact that it happened was crazy. I mean, he came to my garage.
Which is where people should know. That's where you do the show.
Well, that was
So you had the Secret Service set up right outside your garage.
It was crazy. Well, I had to ask my neighbor, if it was okay if we put snipers on his roof. And he's just, this retired guy. It was the biggest day of his life. But
stakes were high in the neighborhood that day.
Right. But the weird thing was, in that neighborhood, it's a little neighborhood outside LA called Highland Park, within LA County. President Obama had gone to college there, nearby at Occidental, for I think a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that he was familiar with the neighborhood, but it was a very unique experience. I think the fact that a sitting president went on a podcast did a lot for podcasting.
It was a game changer.
Yeah.
For the industry.
For the medium, yeah.
Marc Maron, thank you very, very much. Always good to have you here. You can see Stick on Apple TV Plus, and Maron's new HBO comedy special, Panic, will be released this Friday, August 1st. We can tell you we all watched it. It is hilarious.
That's right.